Welcome to episode 4 of Penn and Sadie Save the World.
Penn and Sadie save the world. Penn and Sadie save the world.
So I came to Nashville for GridCon.
Yes.
Didn't make it to
GridCon.
DebateCon.
No, we did not make it to DebateCon, but luckily we were able to hang out with some of the DebateCon events that were happening.
Yes. We went to Grid's event and I was so excited to not debate.
I know he was. He came over here. He's like, I'm so glad I'm not debating this time. We're just going to go out there. We're going to hang out. We're going to meet people. And we did. We did that. But
I saw Fabian. I met Fabian there.
yeah, Fabian was awesome. Shout out Fabian Liberty.
Yes. Shout out to Fabian. So I will sit down in the front because I'm watching Tyler and Jake debate with Gibbs moderating.
You were arguing because 60, 70,000 people have died here.
Okay.
They've only lost 4,000. That's proof of a genocide. That proof of a genocide you're giving means that America has committed genocide in every single war it's been in because we have better military.
You can't commit a genocide during war. That's the thing.
This is a war.
This is not a war.
This is a war.
I've already demonstrated how they're destroying the food. They're destroying hospitals. Your excuse is because there's tunnels. It's like, how does Hamas that has Flintstones technology, literally Flintstones technology, able to build all these fucking tunnels all around Gaza to where Israel says, oh, we have no choice just to bomb out the entire area and kill 100,000 people or 72,000 people.
I understand the leftist argument of
It's not a leftist argument. It's a logical argument. How do they do it then?
No. I understand the leftist argument you're making of they don't have the same tools, so we have to treat them with kid gloves because they're an oppressed minority. But a six-front war attacked Israel to start this. They started it by attacking Israel with the intent to wipe it off the map. Israel responded by saying the governing body of this state has to go before we will have peace.
Okay, I think we can all agree that Hamas, since it's in their charter, their intent is to commit a genocide and wipe out the Israeli state. You know, right? That's something I think we can all agree.
You can make you can make the argument with the entire fucking Middle East because this is what we've been told for years that they want to wipe out Jews, etc., Israeli state, etc. So you can make that argument on any Palestinians, but is it true? Can you prove that?
Well, I mean, I guess that's a good question, but
yes.
I guess the question I have is, you're saying it's not a war.
No.
Okay. Well, Hamas, in at least at least in Gaza, not in the West Bank, is the illegally elected government, and they're still supported by the population, right? And they attacked Israel. At what point does it become a war?
My point is here, and that's a very good question by Gibbs, is at one point, when does it become a war? Which is a great fucking question. If you're going to define when does it become a war, Israel's bombed many other nations outside of just Gaza, right? From the Houthis to Rafah, etc. Like they are dropping bombs at even Iran, right? So because they dropped bombs on them, does that mean that they're starting a war by that definition?
I'll let you answer.
You're just rejecting this as a war. I need to hear more about that because if you look at the actual actions, what we did to the Viet Cong, the United States killed 9 members of the Viet Cong for every 1 member of the United States military that died. In Venezuela, you could say Trump's committing a genocide against Venezuelans because of the disproportionality. The United States,
how many people has Trump killed in Venezuela?
I think it's 80-0. So the reason,
wait, 80 people?
80 people right now have died, I think, in the boat. So it's close to. It was at 66, and I think they did one more bombing after that. So
okay, yeah, I think the genocide.
So
they wouldn't consider that. No,
in a war, there's no rule that says you have to have the same weaponry and same level of weaponry.
I agree with that, Tyler.
So Hamas is being funded and backed by Iran. They're not using sticks and stones. They're using Iranian and Russian.
No, well, they're being funded by Qatar.
So same question to you, Tyler. Okay, so like at what level would it be a genocide, or would it be considered ethnic cleansing?
I don't think genocide and war are mutually exclusive. You could have a war with the intent to have a genocide on it. I would say genocide is based on the intent to actually wipe an ethnicity off the map.
Well, so just to let me press you a little bit real quick. What's this? Like, I guess the second follow-up is the same one I had to him, is what level does it have to reach?
It's a level person. I just think
there's no level. So they can just commit collateral damage in perpetuity and it not be a genocide.
That damage is all justified legally, like we see.
So yeah, if we see,
but it's not.
If they send in the
it's not justified legally.
Is if they go, all right, we're glassing it, send in the B-52s.
Let's say hypothetically, Israel tomorrow went into Gaza and did what we did to Japan in World War II. I would still not consider that a genocide, even though you'd actually see death tolls skyrocket as a result. This idea that proportionality equals genocide means that the United States, because we have the best, strongest.
You're reforming the definition, though. That's my problem with you.
So you said because X amount of Gazans have died versus X amount of Y amount of Israelis, that is one of your two factors.
But but again, in that definition, I'm also trying to prove intent, right? This is why I bring up the food supplies. I bring up the hospitals, the housing. Literally 92% of the houses wiped out, 80% of buildings wiped out. And again, we don't even know the excuses on that. You're telling me you talk about the hospitals because there's tunnels down there. Okay, what about the buildings? Where all the 80% of the buildings they're doing tunnels underneath? No. All 92% of the homes tunnels. This has left 1 million people homeless in Gaza. Okay. Tyler,
that's their government's fault. At one point, does their own government started a war?
It's not a war. This is a bro. Okay, let me give you a metaphor of what this looks like to me, and many people looking in on the outside here, and hopefully you guys can fucking see this. This is a battle between Andre the Giant and a fucking infant baby.
So what?
Okay, and the infant baby fucking, I don't know, pinched Andre the Giant, and now Andre the Giant's fucking pummeling this baby for the last 2 years. That is not a war. That is just fucking abuse, bro. That's all it is. Israel has the backing of the United States. Gaza does not. These poor people do not have a military to protect them, or at least start a war.
You're right.
So it's not a war.
So that baby should not have picked up a gun and shot Andre the Giant's daughter in the head, because that's how this war started, was a six-front attack against Israel. They attacked Israel with the intent to destroy it. They were trained, they were armed, they were funded, they were coordinated by Iran and Qatar to destroy Israel. Israel turned it into a war when they did repercussions back to them. The act of war came from Hamas's side. They fucked around. Mm-hmm. They're finding out.
And Gibbs looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you're debating at 6." And I was like, "That's a good one. You're funny because I'm not debating tonight." And he was like, "No, I'm pretty sure you are." I was like, "You're pretty good at that. You're pretty good at that, Gibbs." And then Jake did it too. And I thought Jake was just joining the joke. He was like, "No, you actually are debating at 6." And I was like, "Dude, you're actually even better at it."
Right.
And then I went over to Fabian, and I was like, they're saying I'm supposed to debate you? And he was like, "Yeah, you're debating me. What?" And I was like, oh my God. That was when it first sunk in. I was like, this isn't a joke.
No, you had to step up to the plate, and you crushed. You absolutely crushed.
The topic was, Trump is the most socialist president of our lifetime. Like, true or false, basically.
False. Obviously false.
Obviously false.
I guess the reason I'm asking you this because I know you're the head of MAGA HQ, right? Unofficially. But like we're sitting here saying...
No, it's official.
It's official. Okay.
It's official. I am the host of MAGA headquarters.
Right. But I guess the reason
all MAGA talking points go through me.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, legally, you can say that as a lawyer. But here's the reason.
Not Ben Shapiro.
The reason I'm asking you this is because we hear this often, and now we're hearing from libertarians. People don't think Trump's intelligent enough to understand the nuances, the foreign policy, the economics. We
should take a random person off the street and let them decide foreign policy. That would be a great idea.
So, like, you don't think he would understand the social
well, it's the same people that you're talking. Like, you take a random person off the street that has, who knows?
So I guess my next question is then, okay, if you do think he's smart enough, well, what do you have to think about the rest of what he has to say? Do you agree that he's not doing it for socialist things? Do you agree he's all right?
Well, I think there's socialist things that he's done. I think there's things that are anti-socialist that he's done that other candidates wouldn't have done and other presidents wouldn't have done. Mm-hmm. So, I look at the ACA. I think that's just so aggressively socialist that it's hard to not put Obama at the top of that list. That's just how I see it. And Trump, at least in spirit, it seems like he wants to reduce public funding of industry. Right. We had Doge, which we can agree or disagree about how effective that was, but in spirit, right, we're trying to reduce the government spending rather than focus on, we got to tax the billionaires. He's often criticized, and this is maybe something we can dive into because it's a little bit more vague of an argument, but Trump's always accused of favoring billionaires. Right, because he's giving tax cuts to private industry and stuff like that. He's not using government to try to insert into these industries. Mm-hmm. That seems pretty anti-socialist, and I don't think other presidents have taken that approach.
Yeah. So in terms of the ACA, I do agree. If Trump was, my problem with that is Trump had control of all three branches of government in his first term, and he didn't do shit to stop ACA.
Well, the Republicans did.
Okay, the Republicans
did. But when we talk about MAGA, if we had 60 MAGA senators, I promise you things would be different. All right?
Maybe.
Promise you that.
But I mean, so is it, if we don't care, right? Because earlier in the debate we said that, why does it really matter what his specific opinion is? Right. It's about his results, right?
Sure.
And if it's about the fact that he, at the very least had rhinos and MAGA together, right? If he couldn't stop the ACA before, and now we have this whole government shutdown based around the ACA, and what cuts are we going to destroy the ACA?
How much of like the fast food, cheap junk food industry is supported by like SNAP benefits and stuff? Is there a way we can connect? I'm
sure there's a study. I'm sure there's a study somewhere that can track that. But God knows, I don't think. And I think this is probably one of the better things that Trump did by, at the very least, putting Doge forward. As far as it was fairly toothless in its ability to significantly really cut waste.
Right.
I think it did. I think it was a great thing in that it showcased just how horrifically inefficient the state.
That's income. That's it.
Right. So I don't think they know where their money is going. You know,
it's hard to imagine because our spending is so out of control that hundreds of billions of dollars can be reduced down to fractions and small percentages, right? But like, and I've made this point a couple times before, not that it makes it a great point, but we're often looking at, tax the billionaires as one of the solutions to bridging this gap between our spending and the revenue we collect. But it's, as far as I've looked up, Elon Musk at most has paid $11 billion in a single year in taxes.
12 billion was the latest.
So we'll take 12 billion. Yeah. I mean, we could say 15 even for the sake of this argument, but we could double that, right? Say we saved $30 billion. If Doge saves $30 billion, we kind of tend to reduce that to, that's nothing. It's just a fraction of a percent. It's meaningless. Mm-hmm. But that's twice of what Elon would have been paying. We could double, triple his taxes, and it would be less than what we saved there. Yeah, while I agree, it certainly is a minimal impact when you look at it against the whole. Right. But I think saving $30-40 billion here and however much Doge did save, I do think all of that is meaningful, especially when you put it against the people who are saying, the solution is just to tax the rich more.
I do appreciate that Fabian at least gave me the winning side of the debate.
Yeah, it was easy to defend.
Yeah, and then after that was Rob and tomfoolery.
Okay, let's talk about this. Can you name me an example where there have been left-wingers that try to speak on campus and right-wingers have used violence to prevent them?
No.
Can you name any left-wingers that have used violence to prevent right-wingers from speaking on campus?
Yes.
How many could you name?
Like 3.
3?
Yeah.
What, in this week?
No, but
Cam Higbee?
Turning Point that USA. Did not happen with Cam.
It didn't happen to Cam Higbee?
No, they didn't prevent. Those people did not prevent.
They chased him off and then smashed. Then
he had already been kicked off by security because he didn't have a permit to do anything there.
In public property, in a public university.
It was not public property. It was not public property. It was on university property. You have to get a permit to speak there. Just as Charlie Kirk does. Just as Stephen.
Let's say that's true. Let's say that's true. Did they vandalize his property on the way out? Did they attack his car?
Before he was on his way, I don't know about his car. I know that they did grab his signs and break.
And they threw shit at his car and they prevented his car from aggressing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, can you show me the equivalent of the left that occurring?
No, I don't think we're
okay. As,
Turning Point USA or much of a threat.
Turning Point USA.
So obviously not.
What's that?
I don't think we are as offensive or as much of a threat as
right.
You guys.
It's interesting. You said about Trump's language. You call us Nazis, fascists, racist, right? All these things. Do you think that would inspire people to use acts of violence?
Maybe.
Do you think Trump acts as a Nazi?
No, not a Nazi.
Do you think that the left says it?
I'm possibly.
Do you think Trump's a fascist?
Yes.
Do you think that we should use violence to prevent fascism?
Not necessarily. No.
Do you think there's times you would say yes?
Of course.
And do you think there are many on the left that would agree that we should use violence to prevent fascism?
Yeah, of course.
So do you think it would be inciting violence to call someone like Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump a fascist?
I don't think it's inciting violence to say what is true, no.
Okay. Can you explain to me how Charlie Kirk was a fascist?
By being one of the most ardent supporters of Donald Trump.
Define fascism.
Fascism would be a ultra-nationalist and authoritarian ideology or way of doing things technically. It's more of a tool to get things done for like an autocratic sort of government by a machismo
So authoritarian
populace.
By being authoritarian, but they like the country. They're nationalists.
You
said authoritarian to be autocratic. That means
ultra-nationalist is not the same thing as a patriot.
Just to clarify, is there an economic component to fascism?
There's an economic fascism, but I wouldn't say that they necessarily.
Forget about the ultra-nationalism. Your problem.
Do you agree with that? Is there a separation between economic fascism?
I think fascism is colloquially used as a word for people we don't like by the left.
Yep.
And shout out to tomfoolery for honestly sitting through and doing that.
For real, dude. Dude had balls
Tough
of
crowd
steel.
for him.
It was like a 100% pretty much conservative crowd. He was the only person on the left there. So shout out to him for that.
Shout out to Robin Moore. I mean, I thought he crushed in the debate. He definitely that was the most fun debate to watch.
Yeah, everybody did get the round of applause for his closing. I'll put that in here too.
Yeah, that was sick.
So Tom conceded in the opening statement that actually the left commits more acts of violence, which was the prompt. He just says that, well, actually, when it comes to murders, the studies say that it occurs more on the right. But obviously, the nature of this being in person, we actually, full disclosure, didn't even know what the topic was going to be until we came up here. So it's difficult to analyze these studies. However, what I'll say is this, as he's conceded that there are, we'll just say, hinky ways that they collect data in all of these other studies that he's talking about. And I still believe that these are still small numbers. What we see is the effectual violence that affects political change is actually that occurs on the left. We see that their protest, which oftentimes leads to violence, actually does affect political change and actually does stymie policies of the Trump administration. For example, the riots that occurred at Black Lives Matter did affect actual changes, and did the Ferguson riots that occurred before that, in the forms of the way funding to police was going, the way the police interacted, etc. Unfortunately for black people in the inner cities, it made their lives worse, but that's okay. A bunch of lefties grifted off it and became millionaires. Hopefully they face accountability at some time for that. We see these actions actually are effective. And as he's conceded, that we actually see a prominent right-winger that was assassinated that probably set the right back decades in the form of Charlie Kirk. Someone you heinously blamed the murder on Donald Trump and not the fucking disgusting lefties that actually took his life. But as is the want of the left, you can see the whole way through this, Tom makes excuses for the left, talks about how he himself would engage in act of violence if he felt that these people were undercover officers because he thinks that maybe he wouldn't know, etc., etc. All, by the way, tough guy bullshit talk. He knows where these people are and he would be able to go. And it's terrible advice that's giving the rationale for people that are going to ruin their lives or possibly lead to someone dying by fighting with ICE. It's no fucking joke. Another instance that we didn't talk about was a left-winger that went on top of a building and shot at ICE agents because of rhetoric like Tom speaking, which actually led to the killing of 2 detainees that were there. The left engages in more acts of violence. Tom concedes that they engage in more acts of violence that affect political change. They're treated easier by law enforcement. They're treated easier by Democrats. They're put in prominent positions even when they engage in domestic terrorism like Bill Ayers. They don't have the largest FBI task force in history that go after them. And these studies are absolute bullshit that want you to deny reality, that we can see that the truth is that it's the left that engages in these acts of violence on a near weekly basis. And we have to pretend it and pretend that every time something happens on the right, that that's somehow this act of violence we need to shit our pants over. He concedes that right-wingers could go on college campuses and be chased off. He concedes that we've seen acts of violence like Black Lives Matter, that bail funds have been promoted by people like Kamala Harris. It's laughable that he says, well, that's just because she's against bail anyways, and yet she doesn't do it to any right-wingers like the January 6th people. It's laughable. It's clear what the signal that's being shown is. The fact that Tom wants to blame someone like Trump for saying he engaged in an insurrection, even if he said something that was truthful or not, that part of it's irrelevant because the mere fact he inspired people to be angry proves that he somehow incited an insurrection, and yet he uses the very rhetoric that his Democratic leaders uses, which is that Donald Trump and by extension Charlie Kirk are fascists, and then Kirk is murdered and Trump faces an assassination attempt twice, shows how fucking dangerous this all is. The truth of the matter is, Tom has no bones about saying what he thinks is absolute truth in his objective opinion, that these people are fascist, even if that results in people trying to take their life. He even admitted at one point, if you listen carefully, he understands why people would try to take the life of fascists. He's okay with that. He'll continue to parrot that rhetoric. Yet at the same breath, he'll bitch about Donald Trump because he said drag this person out at one time. Joe Biden actually made fun of Trump for having to be moved to a bunker, as did many other Democrats. Tom says, I don't give a shit. It was funny. Ha, ha, ha. Trump said that he didn't have to be moved and he was brave in the face of this, so therefore we should mock him for it. The truth is the left has always used violence and intimidation, and it's gotten worse since the advent of Donald Trump. The truth is we can see that it's effectual when we see these judges, when we see these activists, when we see academics, when we see the media, when we see all of these pundits that decide that they're going to immediately smear a great man like Charlie Kirk. Even the New York Times being forced 2 days after his murder to issue a retraction on their own fucking article because they say, we reported yesterday that he said some anti-Semitic things on his podcast. And while that's true, what we left out was that he was criticizing someone and quoting them. The truth is that he was a great fucking man, and I'm glad that we did this debate. I find it disgusting what the left's engaged with smearing him, and I think that you ought to be fucking ashamed. And God forbid this act of violence be instituted on people from the left that are pundits there as well. May we all rise up and say that we're not going to accept this political violence anymore from these lefties. Keep the memory of Charlie Kirk in our mind. Start going to church and pray, because these fucking lefties will laugh at you when you're murdered and make fun of your fucking wife. Fuck them all, not one step back.
But biggest shout out, obviously, to Grid One Motorsports. He's an unreasonable man on YouTube. He's on X. I'll put all of his stuff up here on screen. Thank you so much for letting us join your event and being so gracious. It was so fun, and I really hope he does more events like this in the future. I'd always love to help him.
Yeah, and same with, I guess, the Crucible, because they let us in at the after party. I don't know, it's gay to talk about it like that. Well, we had to go to the after party. We did. I was sick.
We did. We met Andrew Wilson. We met Rachel Wilson. They're great people.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like just really awesome time. We watched Andrew Wilson's debate with Dr. Richard, who we also met, had a short conversation with. And why don't you tell them what the question was that we used at this was a question that we were asking all the streamers at the debate or at the after party.
So we were at the Crucible event at Garth Brooks's bar.
Friends in Low Places.
Yeah. I think I asked 7 people. I asked, if you had to pick a side between Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, what side would you pick? Because I'm just like, oh, look, we're having this internal MAGA war. Like, let's just take this opportunity to do some internal polling for our side. And it was 6-1, and the 1 was Andrew Wilson's debate opponent.
Right, which was
obvious,
picked Ben Shapiro.
Right? He picked Ben Shapiro. But everyone else was like immediately Tucker Carlson. It's funny when Tucker is not MAGA. Dude, you know who's not MAGA? Ben Shapiro.
Right.
Like, even if we're going to debate whether Tucker is or not, Ben Shapiro is not.
Yeah, it's definitely the what kind of American question are you from the Civil War movie.
I'm just saying. Just what? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you?
Like, what kind of right-winger are you? Because you answer Ben Shapiro, I'm automatically thinking you're not MAGA.
Yeah, and I just think it's funny because it's like a litmus test that, like, it doesn't really say much, but it's like you can just interpret everything from that.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, I like Tucker. You're like, oh, God, okay. Right. So you don't just read a headline and go fucking berserk.
Right. Another fun thing we did, we got to stream with Tyler.
Yes, we did.
We did a stream with Tyler, so check that out. It's definitely on Kick, and I'm going to insert some clips from that now, too.
When are you going to let me and Sadie tell everyone the party's over and they have to leave? They have to go.
And we're not going to have any more parties.
We don't want to have any more parties at our place anymore because you let too many people in. I don't know how the word got out like this.
The house is wrecked.
People were sending around flyers about our party.
They're shitting on the back of the toilet because they stand on it and squat.
Yeah, these people were not treating our place nicely.
We got upper deck, huh?
Yeah, it was chaos. There were more people in here than we could fit.
I shouldn't have washing machine at the party.
I don't look even if you can say, all these people paid $20 and we made $500. I don't want to live like this.
But still, like, I still see there's always going to be extenuating circumstances, but like immigration should be treated as outliers.
Yeah.
People that get married, please marry somebody from abroad and bring them over here.
That's
I'm
fine.
100% okay with that. Like, there are situations like obviously like foreign workers coming over here on a tour that are doing, entertainment stuff, like on a tour with the stuff, absolutely give them the work visas and you kick them the fuck out. I've had to work on many Canadian work visas. My father has worked on many Canadian work visas. He got to meet the fucking Prime Minister, shake his hand, all this shit for the great work he did for Canada. And the next day his work visa expired and they kicked him the fuck out.
Yeah, I agree.
They made sure he got the fuck out. Right. So like, I'm all fine with all of that shit. But we're not talking about that shit. We're talking about an abused asylum program, an abused fucking immigration program through chain migration and all this other shit, and the overinflated H-1B program and shit. Absolutely, all these people do not have to be brought over here from foreign countries to work at 7-Eleven. No fucking way a 16-year-old could be working there. Like, we're talking about a bastardized fucking system.
We could let 14-year-olds work at Sonic.
The system the way it's supposed to work in theory. We're talking about bad people getting a hold of this system.
Some parts of chain migration are people bringing the rest of their family over.
No, Tyler. I know the guy that he was like, this is how it works. I come over here, I own this business for 2 years. Then I bring my cousin over here. He owns the business for 2 years. Because for 2 years, as a foreign person coming over here and starting a business business, you don't have to pay taxes. So then the next person comes over here, they take over the business, they don't pay taxes for 2 years. The next person comes over. This is how it works.
Okay, then get rid of that specific provision.
Yes.
No. Literally.
You're saying throw the whole baby out with the bathwater.
But it's been abused for so long.
You guys aren't letting me make the party analogy, so we have to frame it as this. We can't afford beer because everything's so expensive. All three of us roommates.
Yeah, but dude, can we stop drinking so much beer too?
We're not drinking any beer. We're having a hard time affording food. We're putting all of this extra money in to pay for this super nice apartment that we have together.
Yes,
and
but
we can't afford any luxury.
Dude, if we just had our original rental contract where we all had to come up with our $200, we were doing that fine. It wasn't until we were like, oh look, let's get this $1,500 TV because we had like 50 people at our party last night. We made some extra money. Like that's what I'm saying. We don't need to keep doing. Let's just go back to the original rental contract. We're the only ones who get to stay here because we're the only ones that pay rent under that contract.
You're saying fine. I'm saying number one. I want to do some cool shit besides just grind all day and then not be able to afford to blow off steam.
We all live here, and like, if you want a nicer TV. We don't have to have you like. I don't want me and Sadie to have to sacrifice where we live for you to be like, but look at this. Like the TV makes the apartment nicer.
I don't even want to be the rest stop for the people that were here to be able to move out and buy their own TVs and apartments. Like, I can't afford to be the rest stop right now. You want to talk about what we were debating with him since we're still debating it in the group chat?
It was immigration mostly, right?
Yeah, we're just still talking about whether or not immigrants should be here
or should they be Muslim. We talked about that a lot,
We did talk about that, yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, we did talk about that a lot. And I do think that, like, it is a question. You know, one of my favorite clips is from the guy that's just sitting down having lunch at some sort of conference, and somebody randomly asks him a question while he's eating his sandwich. I'll insert it here, too.
You're not doomed yet, but in all of world history, there has never been a civilization that has so opened its doors to another civilization that is openly hostile to it. So this is unprecedented, what's happening. Your ancestors of Europe, when I describe it in my books, because I write about history, fought tooth and nail to prevent Islam from entering and conquering Europe. Because that was one of the grand plans that went on for century after century from the east. The Turks were trying to enter Constantinople. They surrounded Vienna in 1683. And before that, the Muslims, I told you, went up into Tours in France in 732, 1,000 years later. This was an actual goal. And now Western Europe is saying, oh, none of that matters. It was a misunderstanding. Come on in. But they haven't changed. That mentality, and when I say they, that's obviously, I'm simplifying. The mentality that I've described is part of Islam. It's an Islamic concept. So the Islamic State, you're told, oh yeah, they have nothing to do with Islam. They've twisted it. No, they haven't. They are a representation of what Islam, the caliphs, the sultanates, the emirates, that's how they operated. The heads of Islam, the grand imams and the muftis said the same exact thing. Okay, so that is what it is. Again, it's not my point to arguing, oh, well, this particular migrant wants to conquer you. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's looking for a good life. I understand that, and that's what makes it complicated. But to just open your borders completely to that demographic, which has within it, not all of it, but within it, that kernel of animosity for Christians and so-called infidels and the imperative to conquer the world in the name of jihad for Allah, which... They're the good guys, keep in mind. They never see themselves as the bad guys. This is one of the issues with all conflicts. They're not bad guys. They're good guys in their minds. You're the bad guys because you're infidels, and they're trying to bring the light of Islam to you. So that's another aspect of how moral, or the morality that they feel. They're the good guys, okay, in doing this. Because look at you, Denmark and Europe, you're all dissipated drunks and, profligates and... there's no real. Yeah, I'm sharing with you their arguments because I read it and I hear it. So they're bringing to you goodness, okay? But before, your ancestors, because I guess they had their own social order and their own goodness, and it was called Christianity, were able to fight it. But I guess in this current void of sort of this atheistic climate, anything goes, and who's to say they're wrong? Maybe they're right, etc., etc. And now you have what's happening. So it's a very unprecedented experience. A lot of people talk about the Roman Empire, this sort of thing happened, but it didn't, and we can get into that. It was actually, they were still cognizant of trying to maintain their own social, cultural mores, Rome. And it fell to the Goths and the Germanic peoples. And I'm just saying, some people use this analogy, but in this case, this is completely your doing. Not you, but it's Europe's doing. Okay, you're bringing a hostile force that's openly hostile, and lo and behold, when I look where Muslims are, I see chaos and violence and criminality and rape and grooming in England. Okay, that's what always happened under Islam. Okay, so is there a hope? I think so. I hope so in time. But it's so bad that it even had to get to this point. You know, it's such an abnegation and betrayal of your own heritage, of these men and women who fought and died to preserve your way of life against an open, hostile force, and now they're being welcomed in, and why not? It's okay. So I guess so. It's a matter of time.
Because it really is the first time we've done like this scale of mass migration.
Right. What's the outcome? Like, how does...
It's not good.
It's not good, right?
It's obviously not good.
Right. Balatro, the card game.
It's so fun.
We just sat on my couch and probably played this game. No bullshit over the last 3 days.
Like, probably 8 hours.
Probably 8 hours.
And we beat it twice. We beat it twice. Oh, I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah, and we beat it, no bullshit, the second time. We didn't skip any of the bosses. We
the first
had no
one,
face cards. Like, we killed it.
The first one we beat because we didn't have to face the bosses anymore.
Right. We got a Joker that allowed us to skip all the boss blinds.
Yes. And then the second one we had insane multipliers guaranteed on it. It was sweet. Yeah, the one that was every time you don't use a face card, you get a multiplier.
Yeah, we got up to 40 there. We got up to like 41 with using tarot cards. I'll put a couple clips in of us playing this last night. Sorry, we streamed it, but my mic didn't work apparently. So it's just him sitting and talking to himself the entire time on stream. At one point, Ice House goes, "Who are you talking to?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" And I just disregarded it. Sorry, Ice House. He was talking to me if you're watching this, but my bad, technical difficulties.
You thought he could hear you though, so you were just like,
so I was like, who am I? I'm talking to you. Like I said, we've partaken in a couple activities this week, so I think both of us are having a hard time keeping it together.
We've been up late and stuff.
We did. We got home late both nights. But dude, it was fun hanging out with Tyler, meeting his wife. We had lunch together yesterday before they hit the road. Like, it was fun, hanging out with people that I feel like I actually know because we all talk every day. We're getting ready to watch Candace Owens.
Yeah, okay.
Do we want to put on here just the timestamp that we're getting ready to watch the information that's going to change the fucking world?
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah, read her tweet so I can put it up here. Real quick side note, I guess I should shout out Gibbs here for flipping me over around his head.
He did do that.
And I somehow landed on my feet. We were dancing together. He looked at me and put his arms around my waist, and he's like, "I'm going to flip you." And I think I said no a couple times. I was like, no. And he just went for it and flipped me around in the middle of this bar. Like,
that was wild.
My legs were in the air over my head, and I landed on my feet, and I immediately went and sat down because I'm 42 and I didn't want to like throw up or pass out or anything. But it was like no big deal to him. So shout out Gibbs. That was nuts. The aura is real. The aura is real.
Today is going to be a big day. What we will present in the Charlie Kirk investigation is going to change everything. That is not an exaggeration. Nothing will be the same.
Yeah. So currently it is 2:06 p.m.
So it's on right now, probably.
It's on right now. Candace Owens. I'll put some clips in here if there actually is something that, changes the course of American history when it comes to the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
So you have to remember that Charlie landed into Salt Lake City at 9:23 a.m. local time. I suspect that if he had instead landed into Provo, he would have recognized the blue Egyptian plane, okay? It's not every day that you see an Egyptian military craft. It is now my well-informed opinion that he would have looked at that plane and he would have recognized the blue plane and he would have instantly realized that something was amiss. And now I'm going to explain to you very carefully why I suspect that it is highly likely that Charlie would have recognized that plane, okay? Tail number SUBND, the blue plane. A pregnant mommy sleuth who was locked into this investigation discovered something that me and my team had missed. I consider her, obviously, and all of you to be my decentralized intelligence agents. Anyway, she sent me a rather urgent email, and I'm obviously protecting her identity for reasons that are clear. But I want you to know that this discovery is due entirely to her. Her email stated, in effect, that I was only partially right about the plane tracking Charlie, that she had done an additional 15 hours of research and was able to discern that the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erica. Not Charlie, but Erica was the one being tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turns out that she was correct. She discovered that between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SUBTT, the yellow plane, and SUBND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present. And that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is? The flights were majority clustered within 5 states, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah. And it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I'm telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica. And I'm also going to say this includes overseas as well, okay? So my instant question becomes, why didn't Turning Point acknowledge that this plane was familiar to them? We're not done yet. There's more. I know something else about the Egyptian flights. This time, another mommy sleuth. I learned that oddly, Duncan Aviation, where that plane was transponding from, the FBO in Provo sourced rental cars for these quote unquote Egyptians when they landed a couple of days before this operation. And I didn't just learn that, I actually have the license plates number for 4 of the vehicles that they rented, okay? Honestly, you guys, it brings me great pleasure to deliver this information because now, surely, Tulsi's office can get involved because, those darn Egyptians are at it again. Those darn Egyptians. Here are the 4 license plates of the cars that were rented. The first car rented was a silver 2025 Toyota RAV4. The Utah license plate number is T092ZS. The second car was a white 2025 Toyota Camry. Arizona license plate, CWN-N872. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys this in a spreadsheet. The third car was a white 2023 Toyota RAV4. Utah license plate number TN12KM. The fourth was a black 2025 Toyota 4Runner. Utah license plate number Z923DA. To the students at UVU, do we have this somewhere? Did you pull it up or just did you show them it on the screen? I didn't see what you showed them. Okay, cool. License plates were shown. Now to the students at UVU, please check your phones, your pictures from that day, because if any of those cars were seen at UVU or around campus on that day, then we're going to be able to suspect something else.
And if there is no clip to add, she'll just put the screenshot of our Balitro win.
Right. So we'll let you know. You'll know. You'll know. Whatever we put up, you'll know.
We met EOD, Fabian. We met Tyler. We met Jake. Grid.
Andrew and Rachel Wilson.
Gibbs. Rob
Noor.
Yeah, of course. I was super stoked to meet him because he gave me like the first jump on Twitch.
I know, and it's awesome. I hope you'll probably be seeing him on PentupleTV soon. We're gonna try and do some more stuff together because everybody's kind of like in the same place that we are, and I do think that for Grid's event, Tom was the only person on the left who had the balls to show up in the first place. Like, there were other people on the left who were supposed to be there for debates, and they ended up dropping out last minute for one reason or another. I'll probably insert a clip here of maybe some speculation I have of why one dropped out.
What are the chances of white guys experiencing being assaulted by black men to the same degree as women being assaulted by men?
Why would it need to be the same degree?
Because I think if it's a low chance, something that's
well, how low of a chance? How low of a chance before I'm not racist when I cross the street? Does it need to be?
Like 1%.
Your chances of getting essayed by a group of men is way less than 1%.
Or sexually harassed, or just
way less than 1%.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. It was
disagree with what? You want to see the stats?
Well, I'm also just talking about sexual harassment.
What does that mean? They catcall you?
Bother you? Yeah.
They just catcall you?
Yeah, it's annoying.
So what would you like less, if you were a young man to get your ass kicked by a group of young black guys, or get catcalled by a group of white dudes?
I do not hear of like interracial beat-ups. Like, do you have any statistics?
Yeah.
On the likelihood of white people being beaten up by black people?
In comparison to the other way around, strap yourself in.
Interracial violent incidents per capita of offending race. And this is from a Bureau of Justice Statistics National Crime Victimization Survey from 2018. Okay, so white on black 30, black on white 1,288 versus 30 for white on black.
Well, gee, Chuck, it seems like, based on what you just said earlier, if I could demonstrate this to you, you said that you would advise your little sister to cross the street. Do you hold to that? Do you hold to it, Chuck? Do you hold to it? Are you going to advise your sister to cross the street now?
Nah, because I think it's white boys that are getting beat up.
How true. I also think it's funny that, like, we have Fabian, like, we're such a cult. We have Fabian arguing that Trump is the most socialist president of our lifetime. We're just like, yeah, he's still a right winger.
Well,
whatever.
that's what I want to. That's what I want to say is that the debates ended up being really, really good. All of them were really good, and I do think it's because we only had to deal with one leftist at the very end.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So the point being is that we're done engaging with these fucking people.
Yes.
Guess what came up in the Rob Noor debate? I'll insert a clip here. January fucking 6th.
Of course.
What you want to do is what the same lefties always do. But January 6th, it's the worst ever. It's super bad. And when you get to the specific details of what you're saying, now you're changing to, it seemed before you said, if they're in there, there's only one purpose. That's the only reason. I'm saying, well, wouldn't that be equivalent if I'm in a crowd watching them attack?
I didn't say there was one purpose, and I didn't say any
You
of that.
said that at a bare minimum, they were all in there with the purpose of trying to prevent, they were with this. Okay, so then would you say the bare minimum that if I'm standing with people attacking ICE, that I'm co-signing on to them attacking ICE?
Again, yes. If you are standing there with the cops coming out and you are standing there in line with them, that
you're
this
unaware
would be
that this occurs
obstruction.
almost on a weekly basis in Portland, in LA, in Chicago against ICE officers.
Just like it does every time. Like, please put in the comments if you're watching this right now and you are sick of hearing about January 6th like the rest of us. Why would we talk to these people? It comes up every single time we talk to them.
Yeah. Every time we talk about it, we're just rehashing the same points too.
Right.
Like, why was it January 6th and not January 20th if the goal was to obstruct the presidency?
Well, and that's what I said about what I was listening to with Rob, though.
Yeah.
What I do like about listening to with Rob, even though we all have to defend against the same points, he is very good at using those points to match what the other person is saying and crushing them with it.
Right.
There were a couple times that I was like, damn, like obviously I already knew all the stuff that he said, but it just like perfectly dismantles this retard point that we've had to hear 12,000 times parroted by every single person we've come across.
Yeah. You just bleep those names or something. Just so that they'll be like, who was he saying there? Who was he saying?
Well, it doesn't matter. Insert fucking any of them.
Insert any name.
Insert any single one of them, and there it is. So, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna hopefully be putting a video together soon about that exactly. There are so many varying points on the right. There were so many things to still argue.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't all just having like the same conversation with each other all weekend. We were still getting into it. We still got into it pretty good with Tyler. We were going back and forth, you know what I mean? So there's so many varying points on the right to what I would consider like the center, which we would consider the left. That's way more interesting of a conversation at this point.
Yes. I also really liked the exercise we did with Tyler. I think we should do this more often. I know it's more nuanced in the real world, but when we had the discussion where it was like, let's talk about immigration only in the concept and like in the terms of us being roommates in this apartment, breaking it down into those terms, just having the conversation like that. Everyone's been trying, and this is one of the reasons maybe I like it, everyone's been trying to have this conversation at the most like intellectual end and like try to sound smart and well read and like, oh, I've read 15 articles about this. It's like, let's just talk about it like retards. Right. Let's not be like, oh, well, we'd have to petition the government and we'd have to go speak with our representative. It's like, let's just talk about this like, you know, we're roommates.
Right.
Are we, you know, someone's at the door and it's a heroin addict. It's sad. They have nowhere to go.
Right.
Do we just take every single person in like that? Like, what do we do genuinely? And then just have the conversation in those terms. Because you'd be like very sympathetic, but like if you're my roommate and you're just bringing home every homeless person that's like heroin addicted and you're like, we can help. I'm like, we're not a rehab facility.
Right.
How do we actually help these people without just bringing more of them here?
Right. Well, and the difference is if this was an actual scenario where these things were happening, everybody would have a lot less sympathy.
That's true.
Immediately, because it's in their home. You know what I mean? And like, again, I was fighting him on it. Like, the only thing I don't like, it's a way to talk to leftists.
It's just,
That's
feel like,
for sure. You know what I mean? That's a way to talk to leftists for sure.
Well, it's like, you know, when we were doing it with Tyler, and it's like, you're letting this person sleep over and they're sleeping on our couch, but they're not paying towards the rent that we were all paying.
I know. And
Tyler's like, oh, but they're contributing more by, you know, they've made us lunch today. Yeah, with our ingredients from our fridge.
Right.
We don't need a private chef. Tucker's been roasting Ben lately. I've been watching Tucker Carlson in full and complete context. He is absolutely cooking.
Ben Shapiro spent, I don't know, a decade posing as someone who actually cared about your concerns as an American. He did it imperfectly. There were flashes that he didn't really care. But he's like, no, I'm a conservative. I'm not just interested in the fortunes of one tiny country in the Middle East with a population of 9 million. No, I have a lot of interests. I really care about this country, and I'm against the trans movement or whatever. But increasingly, as everyone's gotten more hysterical and prone to sort of blurting out the truth, that veil has dropped and you can see what Ben Shapiro really, really cares about. So this is a very revealing exchange that took place 6 days ago, last Thursday, on stage with Megyn Kelly. Ben Shapiro was just sitting there being interviewed by Megyn Kelly and he said something like, well, Tucker Carlson's, you know, for Maduro, the communist leader of Venezuela, who I guess were on the way to killing or something, forcing out, regime changing him. And he defended Maduro. Didn't, actually. And Megyn Kelly says, well, Tucker said in his show that Maduro, most people didn't know this, whatever his many faults, I wouldn't hire him as an economist, okay? But whatever his many faults, has the most socially conservative country probably in the hemisphere. So Venezuela is just a fact. I mean, I didn't make this up. I'm not in charge of Venezuela. Just noticing that Venezuela has banned pornography, banned abortion, banned gay marriage, banned sex changes, and banned usury. You don't have credit cards with 40% interest in Venezuela. Okay. Ben Shapiro responded this way.
Tucker's made the point, I'm not going to here to be Tucker's defender, but he's made the point that Maduro is culturally conservative.
Who gives a shit? The guy's a communist dictator. Everyone in his country is eating dog. He's shipping fentanyl to the United States to kill Americans. Why do I give a shit whether he's anti-LGBTQ rights?
Who gives a shit? I do.
I think Matt Walsh is starting to cook. He's starting to heat up.
What we want is for someone to unashamedly and single-mindedly advocate for Americans and Americans only. We want someone to say, you know, the only thing I care about is helping Americans. The only people I care about in the world are Americans. And we don't want to just hear that, but we want to see the action taken as well. You know, I've seen some people on social media say, hey, it's America first, but not America only. I disagree. I think it is America only. It's like I said months ago, I consider myself an American chauvinist. America first, America only. I'm an American chauvinist. I don't care about it. This is the only thing I care about. America should be the only thing you care about, especially as a leader of the country.
I don't know what's going to happen with him at the Daily Wire.
Man.
Everyone's saying it. I feel like they might just let it go because
the best thing for them to do would be to let it go.
That's what I'm saying.
The best thing for them to do would be to take the reins completely off Matt Walsh and even be like, listen, if you want to criticize Israel, you go right ahead. because they need to make money at the Daily Wire.
That's true.
And, like, this is not helping their brand, having to lose, like, get in the fight with Steven Crowder, lose Candace Owens, lose Brett Cooper, Jeremy Boring's making fucking movies that go nowhere. Like, money is just bleeding out left and right. They really can't lose Mike Knowles and Matt Walsh, or there is no Daily Wire. So the best thing for them to do would just be like, we're going to make money. Like, go ahead and fight it out, guys.
I also just really want to twist the knife right now and have Sadie put up a screenshot of Brett Cooper's views and a screenshot of Replacement Girl's views.
Well,
the Daily Wire is meaningless now.
Right.
Nobody
And I mean,
cares.
their ad reads were already really difficult to sit through as they were.
Yes.
But the format was terrible. Like, even Alex Jones was still funny, just riffing off about super male vitality.
Doctor? Thank you, Alex. I will now take 2 droppers to test this ultimate male vitality formula. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a momentous moment. Thank you, Dr. Group. I will activate my muscles by doing push-ups. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the move. This is unprecedented. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see what happens right now. Oh my God! What the hell? Wait. Get out of here. Shut this down. This is not safe. This is not. Hold on. Settle down. Get another doctor. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with him. Help him. Ladies and gentlemen, we did not intend for that to happen. I take it personally. Do not have those problems. Again, these are authorized herbs, well known to be safe. Please, doctor, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to cut to commercial for just a moment. Cut. Get everybody out of here.
Like halfway through a rant or something like that, you know what I mean? These are like recorded ad reads that get shoved into their videos every couple minutes, and it's so annoying to watch, dude. You know what we need to put in about
What?
Tyler telling us that Ben Shapiro never said that his only guarantee
Did he say that on stream?
Yeah, I think it was on stream.
Oh,
yeah,
while
where
we were recording, he didn't know?
I think while we were recording, he looked it up, and Grok was like,
Ben Shapiro, is he quoted saying that his loyalty to the U.S. is contingent on the U.S.'s loyalty to Israel?
Yeah, that's a real quote from him. Back in 2010, he tweeted something like, if America
Wow, he did.
Yeah. There's no...
Mega HQW as usual. We only report the news here. Yeah, no, Ben Shapiro said that.
We've told him that before, though, haven't we?
You did not believe us.
That's true.
Until last night. So I'll definitely put in the clip here of Tyler getting blown the fuck out by Grok.
When we were at the bar, I went up to Andrew Wilson and told him that I really appreciated that I can live vicariously through him when he laughs in these retards' faces.
True.
Then we have established that you have no moral high ground for making any prescription on rights because you're just saying their preferences.
We do have a moral high ground, though. Rights are not preferences. We've already defined rights.
How are they not preferences then?
Rights are not preferences.
Okay, then what
Andrew.
are they?
You think the right to life is like the preference to be alive?
What else could it be if it's subjective?
It's so satisfying because we've said that for so long. These people are so dumb. They're so deluded. We just need to laugh at them.
Right. And he's the king. He's the goat, dude, when it comes to that.
Yes. He's not just laughing at them. He's breaking down their arguments pretty simply. They just can't even grasp it.
Okay, Andrew, but what if everyone on Earth decided we prefer if we have one group of people that we enslave? Would you then say that slavery is moral?
Exactly.
So you believe that slavery is moral?
Well, it wouldn't be a belief of
so
slavery
you're morally
being moral.
justifying slavery.
No. It's the opposite.
So you think that slavery is moral?
Do you think that repeating the question as though that's going to help you with this?
I'm repeating what you said back to you to make sure you realize how ridiculous it sounds.
I'm going to show you how it's not. You ready?
Oh, sure.
Tell me how slavery is immoral absent preference. Go
It's
ahead.
causing human suffering.
And it's your preference that we don't cause that?
And they just revert into this retardation. There's nothing to do but laugh at these people.
It's
and
true.
I love it.
Should we talk about what Charlie said, though?
Andrew said in that, like, I didn't prepare for this debate. And that actually makes perfect sense with his approach. Because when I first joined the debate, they were talking about forced birth. And then they kind of just moved on.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he's not going to press her on that. So Andrew was never at any point like, I'm trying to make this point.
Right.
He was literally letting Charlie go anywhere on the map she wanted. Oh, how about this? He'd be like, well, here's why that's retarded.
Right.
Or like, can you get through this question barrier? And
Right.
she, okay, well, how about over here? She was just trying to go everywhere. And it was like this like little Andrew just pops his head up everywhere she tried to go. you're retarded.
Right,
He's like,
and-
oh fuck, all right. It's
and
like
honestly,
a nightmare.
Honestly, that is what happened during the debate last night too. Like
Yeah.
anywhere this guy tried to go, Andrew would be there to, question the foundation of whatever he was saying, clear up definitions,
Right.
and then it ended up being a fight over semantics a little bit, and the doctor was getting frustrated because this isn't even what we came to debate about, and said, well, this is
Right.
where you ended up when you threw out a bunch of qualifiers about morality
Right.
in your own opinion, and that's how we should, make up laws or secular humanism or whatever the fuck he's talking about.
I mean, yeah, one of the best points I've heard Andrew make on that, because I actually hadn't formulated a response to this critique of Christianity, but when they say, oh, well, which form of Christianity? Your form of Christianity? It's like, that same applies to secularism. Your
Right.
form of secularism, that all of those are worse.
Your standards of morals.
All of those are worse.
And I think there's probably a lot of proof like that hasn't been working. That's how we ended up like transing kids, I think.
Yeah.
Because morally, I think that's evil and wrong. So where does like my secular humanism come into play with that, Even from like a religious standpoint, if you absolutely want to divorce even that from it, I can still give you a million reasons like morally why this is not something that we should be engaging in.
I mean, I have friends who are adults and trans, and I just don't support even adults transitioning, but if what's happening in the house down the street isn't inherently my concern.
Right.
So like I can love my friends that are transitioning while not necessarily supporting it. This is Dutch.
Here's Dutch.
And
he's just going to go wherever he wants, apparently.
Thank you for watching episode 4. Episode 4 of Penn and Sadie Save the World. I'll be back live later this week.
Yeah.
There's Dutch boy getting the last word in.
Sniffing it up. All right, buddy. Thanks, guys, for watching.
All right, peace.
Later.
Penn and Sadie Save